Hello from Southern California. This is the DealershipNews.com podcast, where we bring you the new and old school insight into the business of selling cars and service so you have the foresight to grow your dealership and stay ahead of the competition. I'm Kelly Kleinman, and here is our show. Today we have an MVP in every sense of the word. He's a master networker, sales trainer, blogger, and vlogger, and most of all, good friend that you could always count on. If you're a dealership or a dealership group, you want him with you, not against you. And oh, by the way, he's the Dealership News Man of the Year for 2019. Hey, he's also the Car Biz Coach and the key master of Gozer for CarMotivators. Congrats, Sean Kelley.
Thank you very much, Kelly. I'm excited to be the DealershipNews.com Man of the Year.
Well, you've been such a good friend to us. I have to say that any way we could support Sean Kelley, we're happy to do so. He's one of the brightest lights in the industry. I just so you know, I won the Hunkiest Automotive Podcaster of the Year. Of course, I control the only vote. I'm effectively the winner of the first inaugural Master Podcaster Award. Okay, let's talk about 2020. 2019 was great. How was 2019 for you, by the way?
It was phenomenal. I mean, massive growth, massive impact for my clients, and started and invested in a lot of new relationships. It couldn't have been much better.
So 2020 holds a lot of promise for you. Now, you've just released an online training program called CoachChat. Now, anyone can access your system at their convenience and in the comfort of their own workplace, home, or tool shed for that matter. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, Kelly, thanks for sharing. And I'd like to really clarify that CoachChat is not an online training platform. It's an online coaching platform. So as a coach, you know, it's individualized attention. I believe that every person to really exceed or reach their maximum potential can benefit from having their very own personal coach. And coaches, as you know, we trade time for money, because as I'm coaching you, I can't do other things. And training in our industry has become extremely scalable in the fact that sales trainers create video content and digital content that people can log on to and watch and maybe take a little course, and then they go back about their day. But that's an off-the-shelf, one-size-fits-all solution. And while a lot of that's great, and I grew up on the old Joe Verde, VHS tapes, and that's one of the things that inspired me to want to do this. But at the end of the day, I think people need their very own coach, and that's what's helped me accomplish what I've accomplished. And our coaching has made a massive impact for thousands of general managers, owners, sales managers, car salespeople, BDC people. It doesn't matter who you are or what you do. You need a personal performance coach to reach your potential. The problem is that as a coach, there's only so much time in the day. I can only talk to so many people. And it broke my heart every time I would talk to a frontline employee who maybe has just started off in the business, or just bottom line is maybe there's a manager who's fully extended on their income and they can't afford to have their very own coach. So what I had to do was create an affordable and scalable model to give everyone one-on-one coaching where they want it and need it most. And this isn't some platform where they log into and they take a class. It's a real conversation with a coach who's tracking, following up, whose only objective is to help them accomplish what they want most in the quickest and most enjoyable possible way. So that's what CoachChat is. We've created CoachChat, and literally people are signing up. I took a few of my dealer groups and I put their employees in to be like our beta, and it's working. I mean, we're producing amazing results, coaching them right, following my coaching frameworks and processes right through CoachChat. It's making a huge impact.
How long has it been up now?
Well, we just launched it about 60 days ago, and we've already had over 90 CoachChat conversations, and all have led to action plans where we're following up, measuring, and supporting. And we've had employees after one CoachChat conversation double their sales. And we wanted it to, for those people who really don't know what coaching is, I wanted them to experience coaching before they had to financially commit. So we've got a 14-day free trial, and that'll help them in those first 14 days. We're going to help clarify their vision for success, set some short-term, mid-range, and long-term goals. And that's what will happen when you first join CoachChat. And then after that, when you're done with that, the coach will help you start developing an action plan to achieve those goals. And it's been really exciting to see the initial people that have signed on, and how they've just been able to use CoachChat to as their own personal accountability buddy, their own support, and just having that coach in your corner is amazing.
Yeah, I totally understand that. I think it would be great for support because sales are tough. You know, it's a battle to survive. You sort of touched on it, but I'd love to hear a couple case studies. And this is just 60 days.
Right.
It's pretty good results.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, a few of my favorite ones so far. There was an employee that was going to quit. He was going to quit his dealership because he had been there for 5 years. He's been the top salesperson, but he really wants to move into management, and he was going to quit. And he reached out to his coach, and we were able to have a great CoachChat conversation where he ended up deciding to sit down with his manager, fill in his boss on where he's at. And as a result of that conversation, he now has a career growth plan. And over the next 90 days, he will be learning and mastering the management role. And when he helps create the situation where he can be replaced in the showroom floor, so he's got to transfer his skills, he's going to get that promotion, and it's all been lined up. So he's excited about a bright future. And to know that I was able to save a dealership's top employee from leaving from this chat conversation was amazing. One of my other coaches was having a chat conversation with someone, and this was a salesperson who was in a 3-month slump. They had averaged about 20 cars a month, and for the last 3 months, they were selling 8 and 9 cars a month. They were in a slump, less leads were coming in, and as a result of that chat conversation, they came up with some things to say and revisited their CRM, and the people that the salesperson could possibly call, came up with some messages, and ended up creating an e-blast campaign. And this salesperson started calling, and he was able to not only get back up to where he was selling 20 cars a month again, but he's selling over 20 cars a month again. So that was another exciting one. Just a couple of case studies, but the coaching wins keep adding every day. They seem to add up more and more. So it's exciting.
Sometimes a positive coach just transfers that positive mojo, and things work in mysterious ways. By the way, it's really inexpensive. This is not a paid or sponsored advertorial here, but it's really inexpensive. So it's a great investment for a dealer. I don't know if you want to go over that now, but where can they get more information about it? What's your website for the service?
Yeah, absolutely. So if it's okay with you, Kelly, I can send you the link, and they can use that to sign up, because the URL's it's kind of long. But I can send you the link, and you can share it with the network. Is that all right?
It's 700 characters long.
Yeah, exactly. That doesn't fit on the screen. No, it's not that bad.
So we know that making a plan is important for any salesperson, any dealership. You have to have a business plan. You have to have a plan of action. And for any enterprise or individual to succeed, there needs to be a plan A in place, a plan B, and a plan C alternatives, as well as fallbacks. Now, you recently wrote a blog about planning that I love. Can you break it down for us right now? Feel free to elaborate. I know it's a 7-step plan, but maybe the top 3 or 4.
Yeah, what it boils down to, when we are working with a dealership as a whole, how do you measure success through coaching? Well, you have to, you have to say, what are we trying to accomplish? You have to set that objective, and there's so many things that a dealership could choose to focus on, and the OEMs bombarding you with metrics and saying, fix this, fix that, and sometimes, I see sales managers or dealer principals going over 50 and 60 different stats with their team, right? So as a result, people don't know where to focus their efforts. And you get what my mentor, Chad Carden, calls the rocking chair effect, where, you talk about something for 1 week and people start doing it. And then the next week you're on to a new thing. So you really have got to create habits, and those habits come from people doing the right activities in the right way for a long enough time. So what we were talking about with the planning thing is that, in any initiative plan, the first thing you need is focus. So you have to dial in, you have to choose, what are you going to focus on? Because if everything is important, nothing's important. So step 1 to a good, effective plan that will drive growth is that you need that focus and that clarity. And how do you get that? You need a clear objective. As you know, I was a special operations sergeant and spent 2 years in combat zone deployments. And I'll tell you this, I could never accomplish a mission that I didn't know the objective. So that's number one. What do you want to accomplish? What is the objective? And then you've got to get everyone dialed in on that one objective so you have focus. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, what are the data sets that are involved in creating a good, solid plan to help someone succeed? 2020 is the perfect, I mean, the timing is perfect right now. We have to move into 2020. We may as well with some knowledge and some initiative. Fire away.
That's right. So again, the data sets are going to depend entirely upon what are you going to focus on, right? So for instance, I've got dealerships, some of them are focusing on referral generation. Some of them are focusing on, profit, front-end profit. Some of them are focusing on customer experience. At the end of the day, you have to really dial in on what are you going to focus on, because the data sets will vary depending on what those things are, right? And you have to have a way of measuring your growth and measuring the activities that will create that growth. There's two types of data sets when it comes to creating a plan. You have to understand the leading indicators, which are the behaviors that will impact the results, and then you have to have the results, which are the lagging indicators, and that's what tells you if your plan's working or not. So one of the biggest mistakes we make in the industry is we focus so heavily on the results and we ignore the actions necessary, and we ignore the leading indicators, the behaviors, and we're looking at the results. But by the time the results are in, it's over. You can't change it. So leading indicators, and if you want to, let's pick a topic, Kelly. Let's say used car department growth. Let's say the growth plan is focused on getting your used car department from 50 to 150 cars. Okay, so that's the objective, right? And then the result would be 150 cars. So that's units delivered is a lagging indicator. Okay. But what are some of the leading indicators that the behaviors that might? Okay, so we need more time spent purchasing cars. We've got to raise our inventory level, right? So a behavior would be who's buying cars, how many are they buying, how much time are they spending shopping, right? How many people are out at auctions? How many people are on Auction Genius, whatever it is, looking for inventory? More behaviors to grow your used car department. Well, we've got to get them frontline ready and on our lot, right? So another behavior would be service. Do you have any unapplied labor time? Could we lower that? So that might be something to look at. Do we need to recruit technicians and people that buy cars? Because bottom line is this, so a leading indicator, you've got to have the staff to be able to support stocking up on used cars. So a leading indicator that you might need to start tracking is number of interviews, right? Yeah. So let's say I said, okay, used cars. So we got to buy them, we got to service them, and so we need to start recruiting, we need to start purchasing. So now we've got to figure out how many do we want to hit by when, and who's going to be doing these initiatives. Another big part of an effective plan is knowing what are your resources and who's going to be doing these things, and when do they start. Another downfall to a plan, when a plan doesn't work, I often see that it's because no one had line of sight to when that was going to be start by, and no one had line of sight to when they were supposed to be finished by. So you need goals for each of these behaviors, if that makes sense. So again, you've got the leading indicators, the lagging indicators, and the lagging indicators for that used car department might be overall used car department profit. It might be average shop bill, average RO, right? It might be days in stock, because as you grow your used car department, you might say, well, we need to make sure our turn time doesn't get too slow. So you might want to watch that as a metric. So as you can see, the metrics you're talking about are really specific to the growth plan.
So what you do is you basically take a look at previous activity, behavioral analysis of how you were operating beforehand, come up with a plan to become more sustainable with a better action plan. So there are a lot of data sets involved. Sustainability is a huge part of that, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, once you get where you want to go, how do you maintain it? It's really easy to go back in your old routine, or I hit my objective, now I'm done, right? And we walk away. So that ongoing, what is the process for sustainability? And I'll share an example where working with a dealership on their inbound phone calls. That was, mastering inbound phone sales and maximizing those opportunities was the growth plan. And for the first 90 days, it was every single month, growth, growth, growth. We had over a 12% increase in phone closing percentage. Some of the leading indicators were managers listening to sales calls, conducting one-on-ones, salespeople practicing the scripts and role playing after their sales meetings, and then the lag indicators, obviously closing percentage, appointment set percentage, appointment show percentage, things like that. So this thing kept going up and up and up. We plateaued off about 90 days. And then the sustainment plan, they had a changing of the guard in management. One of the managers was promoted, moved to another store, and his portion of the plan, which was to ensure ongoing call coaching was occurring, fell by the wayside. And as such, it slowly started dropping again, right? So there's got to be a sustainment plan, and also revisiting those plans. I recommend when you have a plan, just because you put a plan in place doesn't mean it's getting done. You need someone responsible for the execution of that plan. And I've got a dealer group in New Jersey. I'm working with Sansone Jr. Auto Mall, and they are Route 66 Sansone Jr. Auto Mall, and they are phenomenal leaders. And we were able to take the owner's son and have him take on a project management role. Mm-hmm. Now he's following through with these plans. He's kind of inspecting what they expect. Everyone knows what happens if you execute on your plan and if you don't. And then once the plan's done, he's helping making sure that the sustainment occurs. So it's just maintenance. Once you get it to where you want, it's a lot easier. Then you can pick a new growth area to focus on.
Let me ask you a question as far as the success of a plan. Can it to some extent rely on incentives to reach certain goals to add to the sustainability?
Great question. Kelly, the thing about incentives is those are designed to increase the want for someone to take action and follow through, right? I think that if you're doing an initiative and it doesn't have a good enough positive reward financially or just, beyond finances, right? Some growth plans are all about enjoying work more, which is pretty cool. But I think the plan should create the results in and of itself that rewards people. So to put additional reward on something that should already produce a massive reward, it probably does. If you have to do that, the plan, you may be focusing on an area, you may be trying to grow in an area that isn't profitable enough. So not to say incentives don't make people want to do something, but I would say if accomplishing this plan doesn't produce financial reward for people involved, it may be the wrong plan, just to be candid. Or some other form of reward, like, could we sell more cars, everyone make the same money, and have more time off? That's something that one of my dealerships has focused on. We focused on what we called routines for success at the management level, and it's allowed people to unplug, spend more time away from the dealership while simultaneously selling more cars.
We're going to have the full blog on our site. It'll be up here in a few minutes, actually, at dealershipnews.com. Sean, thanks for joining us today. And again, I think we picked the best possible man of the year. And I appreciate you coming on board and being there with us every step of the way. And have yourself a great holiday.
You too, Kelly. Thank you, buddy. It's an honor to be on dealershipnews.com.
Sean, where can you be reached, by the way? Do you have a telephone number or what's your best email?
Yeah, call us anytime at 1-888-921-0221. Or you can email me, Sean, SEAN, at CarMotivators.com.
Sean, Kelly, thanks again.
Thank you. Good, Kelly.